What's your best truth or dare gone wrong moment? In 6th grade before English class, my friends were playing spin the pencil truth or dare and coming up with stuff that could be done in class. The pencil landed on a girl as she was coming into class and they dared her to kiss me. She said she'd rather kiss the floor. She actually kissed the floor. Friend and I are home from college getting drunk. 16-year sister walks in with her girlfriends who want us to play truth or dare. Friend and I agree as we are already intoxicated. Not even 3 dares in. One of the girls is dared to kiss my friend. He gets up and walks out of the room exclaiming, "I will not go to jail." Edit. I apologize to those who left comments. I was not expecting this to blow up at all. I will try to respond to you all. Thank you. College dorm drinking and playing truth or dare. One guy in the room picks truth. Was asked what age and how he lost his virginity. Turns out he was forced to have sex at 11 or 12 by his older siblings. Room went real quiet after that. Edit. To clarify, it was rape. But his siblings made him get raped by a third-party person. No incest. This reminds me. I was playing Never Have I Ever with a large group of people I didn't know very well. It's been many rotations around the group. So I am out of boring stuff. I say never have I ever killed anybody. One guy put a finger down. Turns out he had accidentally killed his friend playing in a construction site many years ago. That's just a moment where you lie. The game is not a contract written in blood, and I am sure your friends would understand if they found out later you lied. Girl pick truth. Her BF asked who was the best fuck she ever had. She named his brother. She was drunk and told the truth. But he was super pissed. We got to watch the whole thing. Turns out it was before she was dating him, but he was still upset. He's a moron. Only 2 answers for that. Him or someone else. That's not a gamble most guys should take. He was drunk. Probably feeling cocky and wanting everyone to know how good he was at sex. That's a gamble most of us will lose. Maybe try asking, what was the most okay sex you have had with an emotionally stable, but slightly vanilla guy? What's the best sex you've ever had with someone who you currently love and are in a relationship with? Still your brother. We were drinking and he was hoping she would say him I suppose. Has she been sober? She might have paid him the compliment, or at least not said your brother. And the guys that usually do take the gamble are the insecure ones. So it's never a good question being asked. I misread that as she meant her brother was the best fuck she'd ever had and was surprised at the lack of roll tide comments. He just wanted her to stroke his ego. I've never asked any partner who was their best. We have good sex together. It isn't a competition between us and everyone else we have ever slept with. Questions like that just reek of immaturity. Granted, she really shouldn't have answered the question at all, because damn. Senior year in high school, was dared to kiss the girl I had a crush on. She was a very shy person to begin with and her friends totally set the whole thing up to get us together because she liked me a lot. Go in to kiss her and she blushes furiously, farts loudly, and then scrambles to her feet and runs away crying. In uni, T&D and my buddy gets dared to streak across the grounds at the student housing. Middle of winter, so more than just propriety at stake here. We all supported a footwear caveat, so not completely naked. Shitty little balcony attached to the apartment we were drinking in. He strips down, slides open the balcony door, on the 2nd floor, to hop the rail onto the ground and go for his dash. As he's going over quickly he pauses sitting on the rail, facing where he was going to make a short jump to the ground. His nuts and area around his perineum froze to the metal rail he was sitting on. Someone laughing said push him. But before anyone could he screamed, like a girl, no, and no one did. Fortunately he didn't jump and rip the fucking skin from his nuts and area. We filled a KFC bucket with warm water and poured it into his lap so it would run down to the contact area and he came loose. Everyone decided he was good on the dare anyway. I still cringe thinking of, in that split second, someone would have pushed him, or he lost his balance. It was a bit precarious. Post-mortem discussion was that he was a bit sweaty down there before he stripped. His hands had some damage too. But hey, who gives a shit about hands when your nuts are froze to a balcony rail? I want to laugh, but the thought of frozen flesh tearing off along a metal railing has forced me to disconnect the internet at the end of this sentence. During a drinking game of truth and dare with a bunch of friends, the shortest, most timid girl of our group was dared to eat yogurt from the fattest guy's belly button in our group. After about a minute of convincing, she went for it, and immediately started puking all over the guy. I was 10 years old, hanging out with my brother and his friend. A random truth or dare session came about, and I thought it would be fun to join in. When it was my turn I picked errand and my brother's friend told me to spray cinnamon spray on my ass, like right at the hole, and I did. Dropped pants, squatted and sprayed. I remember the moment it started to burn. To this day I tense up. I ran around the house looking like Zoidberg until the pain stopped. Back in college we were pre-gaming at my friend's apartment playing Truth or Dare Jenga. I pulled a brick that said to do a lap around the outside of the building naked. Easy enough. But it was the middle of winter so I slipped and fell on some ice and ended up breaking my ankle. Young, like 11 or 12, playing Truth or Dare with my friends outside at my house. One friend dares me to piss in the bird bath which was in plain sight of where my parents and neighbors could see. I do it. He thinks it's funny. Next time it comes around to him he chooses dare. Other friend dares him to drink the water in the bird bath. That went wrong on him quick. A group of 7 of us, 4 girls and 3 guys are in our college dorm's communal area. We're playing and drinking and it started out pretty tame. Most people were picking truth and the dares were things like take a shot or text an ex. Then things took a turn. One of the girls, let's call her Ashley, asks for dare, and one of the guys, call him Bill, says I dare you to suck my dick and let me come on your face. Everyone just kind of awkwardly chuckles and tries to laugh it off. Then without warning Bill whips out his erect penis. Everyone flipped out and yelled at asking WTF he was doing. He kind of laughed it off and then we all just kind of dispersed to our rooms. A few months later Bill got kicked out of school for raping a different girl. I find it strange that people will say, let's call her, insert name here. Just use a name. We don't know you. Internet stranger. Don't make up a name. Especially either name doesn't come up again in the story and doesn't affect the outcome. Middle school. Buddy was dared to go into closet and kiss this girl. Long time goes by so we check on them. He was so nervous he pissed himself and they were trying to clean up the mess with the clothes that were hanging up. Hey, cool on the girl for not just running out and making a scene and instead trying to help him. Don't come in. We're doing it motions at girl for help. Oh, up, yeah, stick it in my ear. Whispers what the hell. Whispers harshly stop pressuring me. I'm already mopping pee up. Oh my god you're going again. The punch was really good. Or, I love this story. It's such bonkers middle school logic. I know. Well get rid of the puddle on the floor and he'll never know. Perfect plan. Except for, you know, the giant wet patch on his pants. Truth or dare at a friend's house after graduating high school. Everyone was drinking and Truth or Dare popped up. One of the lads was particularly mad enough to pretty much do whatever we suggested even when sober. The bottle lands on him and someone says, "Dare you to skinny dip in the pool." Within a flash, he's out of his clothes and running towards the pool. He jumps and overshoots it by so fucking much that he goes stomach first into the diving board. Maybe he was holding in the burgers we ate. Maybe the alcohol had loosened his asshole too much. Or maybe it was just an unfortunate accident. But he sprayed out all of his shit when he hit it. He then fell into the pool in the area of his diarrhea shit. Friend who owns the pool yells, "What the fuck?" and runs over. He picks up the pool cleaner net and starts trying to fish the shit out, but it's pure liquid, so he starts hitting the shitty friend on the head with it. Shitty friend gets out of the pool, gets a shit-eating grin, and starts walking towards us like that hallway scene from Paranormal Activity 4, shouting, "Give me a hug." We locked him outside until he passed out. The pool was ruined. At least he made the best out of the situation. Sounds like a funny fucker. Seriously, I would have had to crawl into a hole and die. This man is a champion and deserves a medal. Run your filter on high. Double shock the pool daily for 3 days. Change filter sand cartridge afterward. Got dared to French kiss a girl I had a huge crush on and somehow hit her nose with my tongue, and from then on it was remember when L3 put his tongue up what's her name's nose. 25 years later and it still embarrasses me. If 25 years has passed and that's the embarrassing moment people remember, you have done quite well, I think. Played Truth or Dare with my friends in high school. I was dared to go around my apartment building selling underwear. One guy opened the door and was actually genuinely interested in buying a 16-year-old girl's underwear until his wife came out and started yelling at him. Me and my friends quickly left, but I'm pretty sure I caused a huge fight between them. Edit. Wow. My top comment is about selling underwear as a teenager. Are you male or female? Did he think he was buying your underwear? If so, that's a really creepy dude. Well, he's pretty creepy regardless. But Marizo, if he thought he was buying your underwear off of you right then. I am a female and yes, it didn't really register to me then, but you are totally right about him being creepy. I mean, it was creepy to go around offering them for sale. When you said going around selling underwear, I thought you meant like pretending to be a door-to-door underwear saleswoman, not offering to sell the panties you were wearing. Oh my, I've had this one for a long time. When I was much younger, we had my younger cousin over. She came from a very bad home but state never would do anything. Anyways, I think she was 6-7 at the time. My sister, her and myself decided to play Truth or Dare. Sister dared my cousin to eat some cat food. Seems gross enough, and being young, hey, that's funny. She picks some up and eats it without flinching a moment. We blindly stare in AWW what she did. What came next shocked us. My sister asked her how she ate it so easily. Oh. Well, that is what we eat at home a lot. Yep, my uncle was starving his children to the point they were eating cat food to survive. Being young, we never said anything to anyone about it, a regret we have to this day. Way back in high school, a girl was dared to go up behind the boy she fancied and put her jumper over his head. She did, but he turned his head instinctively, so ended up with his face buried in her tits. Great tits, Sarah, he exclaimed without thinking. Win for him, but I've never seen a girl genuinely look like a tomato before. Reminds me of a party where I was fooling around with a girl, trying to gaffer tape each other, and 2 guy friends ran up and gaffer taped us firmly and tightly together. Best wingman ever. When I was in 10th grade I was invited to a small party of just my girlfriends and just one guy. All these girls had a crush on the one guy and told me that they wanted to play truth or dare and my job was to make sure he was to kiss them or whatever at all times. Well, he caught on and would only say truth, so they asked him out of all us girls who he was willing to fuck and he said me. Turns out he was gay and said me because he knew I wasn't trying to be rappy. I was very unpopular that night after he left. Respect to him for standing up for himself in that situation, especially since he was outnumbered. That took balls, your balls specifically. I am just gonna say that by the comment, you can infer that Lemon Drop Pop is indeed a girl. After reading your comment I had to go back and reread OP post. It turns out you're right. Not sure why I originally inferred that OP was a guy. Unpopular amongst a group of people who were giving off rappy vibes, that makes you a super upstanding citizen. All the rappy girls were jealous of you. God forbid you just sit back and let the rappy girls have their way. A small party of just my girlfriends and just one guy, turns out he was gay. The one dude who is best friends with all the girls is usually either gay or dating one of the girls. He had just moved to the neighborhood. He could skateboard and smoked pot. That is like catnip to a bunch of bored horny teenage girls. We also lived in a trailer park, so I wasn't really surprised by the situation. Just after I turned 21 I had a housewarming party and invited a bunch of people. Some I knew well, others not so much, all drinking. Up next was a guy that I was peripheral friends with, but didn't know that well, and he chose dare. The darer was a bit of a dick, and likewise dared said peripheral friend to slap me in the face with his penis. We got him back by me doing the same to the original darer, and that started a friendship that has resulted in being each other's best man and godparents to children. Best case scenario for getting a dick slap to the face I can think of, honestly. It was at a girl's birthday party. Super conservative religious parents. She had been talking for weeks about how she got a tattoo without her parents' knowledge on her butt, and was dared to prove it to us, her skeptical friends. She agreed by bending over the card table we were at so everything waist down was out of view, dropping her pants, and told me to come confirm. I was standing behind this girl with her pants around her knees, bent over a table while the other people were laughing and cheering. When her mother came downstairs and opened the door and saw this. Uni, all drunk. Friend dared his girlfriend to make out with another chick. She did. Awesome. She likes it. They flirt, talk a lot during drinking. End of night comes. They go home. Back to her dorm room together. My friend the boyfriend isn't invited. Weeks later, girlfriend actually leaves him to be with the other girl. Holy shit. She went home with someone else. Regardless of gender. Why did he stay with her? Not that he was the smartest man in the world by daring his girlfriend to kiss someone else. Because that someone else was a girl, and he immediately latched onto the threesome fantasy. Be careful what you wish for. Edit. Especially when your wish is basically cucking yourself. Rookie mistake. All women are 3 drinks, 2 compliments, and 1 good kiss away from going lesbo, at least for the semester. Friend of mine told me about a tour game she played during high school. One of the girls was dared to take off her shirt and run down the street topless yelling fire. She accepted the dare and got arrested for indecent exposure. Steve dared Molly to kiss me. I gave him $20 to do it. Molly ran out of the room crying. Not me, but I remember a post about someone being dared to go home and they did. I remember this. He was at his crush's house and she dated him to leave. A moment of silence for the poor guy. Note: I meant asked. Sadly this man did not get dated. Author's note: I'm an idiot. I meant dared. Had a party at my place and a guy got really wasted and was making a fool of himself. We tried to politely ask him to leave, call him an Uber, etc. But he just wasn't biting. He was infatuated with my best friend. So she pipes up, "Hey Sean, let's play truth or dare." He responds, "Okay." Truth, my friend yells at him, "I dare you to go home." He finally got the picture and I blurted out the most obnoxious laugh immediately after. All my friends got dared to play spin the bottle, so they all started a game. One of them had the beginnings of a herpes cold sore and they all got terribly sick and came out of it with oral herpes. 7 people was playing truth or dares and got dared to lick the bear in a thigh of a girl I liked. Just as I was about to do it, she went pale and ran away to the toilet to throw up for a few minutes. I was pretty gutted until somebody pointed out that a couple of minutes before she had been dared to eat a daffodil. We thought she'd eat a couple petals or something, but she was a trooper. Ate the whole head in one bite, then took lots of little bites along the stem. Like, nom 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 nom, 2 mouthfuls and the whole thing was gone. The next day somebody was telling their parents about it and they informed us that daffodils are poisonous and if she hadn't thrown up she might have had to go to hospital. Still pretty gutted I never got to lick her leg. And anything else that might have led to, but at least the prospect of that wasn't what caused the vomiting. Still pretty gutted I never got to lick her leg, and anything else that might have led to. Truth or dare never actually led to anything. Don't worry. The comment below yours right now is about their game leading to an orgy. Myself included. The party was 3 guys and 3 girls. When the game started getting steamier and we had taken most of our clothes off, a guy asked one of the girls, and she chose dare. I dare you to make out with me in the bedroom, along with the other 2 girls. They went with him. The other guy and I spent the next hour playing Soul Calibur in our underwear. Iowa State, causes. So I was the other dude playing Soul Calibur. And how have you been, dude? Well damn, that lad single-handedly cock-blocked you guys out of 3 girls. And here I am thinking exerting my dominance by peeing in my dad's shoes was peak dominance. Single-handedly cock-blocked them out of 3 girls and got a foursome with 1 sentence. It seems necessary to say that's a dick move on that guy's part. Okay, I dare everyone except for the other 2 guys in the room to go into the bedroom with me and see where things go. Later dudes. Drive safe. Some drunk guy in a bar dared me to do a shitty thing that I don't even remember. I was drunk too. I said number. He punched me in the face and went back to his drinking, leaving me on the ground. To this day I have no idea why he did that, but I remember that it was hurting a lot despite me being drunk too. X asked me what's the nastiest thing I have done sexually. She clearly expected me to ask her back and impress me with some story she had in mind. We never got to that point. I'm an nasty dude and she didn't want to play after I answered. Edit. I am 0% ashamed that this and my comment below telling the story are my top comments ever. Comma and then Rob and I started felching. I mean, it was a natural progression. It would have been awkward if we didn't, especially with all those straws lying around. You had to have been there. Well, if you were there then the sounding probably wouldn't have happened. So this is your fault. Looks up sounding on Urban Dictionary, knowing already that it will be a mistake. Regrets it. I watched a guy eat 2 empty large pizza boxes. The entire room was quiet the whole time until he was halfway through the 2nd box and someone said please stop this and he growled and finished the box. It was incredibly uncomfortable. I was very sad for some reason, even though I did not have to eat the pizza boxes. Ewu 100k comment karma, what a thing. I was very sad for some reason, even though I did not have to eat the pizza boxes. This is the best. Someone said please stop this and he growled and finished the box. I'm fucking dying here, ahahaha. For some reason I thought you meant 2 actual pizzas, and I was still pretty impressed. So right after high school on a trip with 3 friends, we end up playing Truth or Dare and somehow I was dared to swallow a tablespoon of salt. Now this is way before the cinnamon challenge and I have no idea what made my friend dare me this. But I am no bitch and swallowed that whole spoonful. I thought I was going to die. My throat instantly dried up and I could not figure out how to breathe right. After about 15 minutes and a ton of water I lived. I was dumb for doing it. Had to do a body shot of a random girl. Ended up slipping and headbutting her in the chest. I was young and naive. I was dared to body shot off a hot girl. I took it off her shoulder rather awkwardly. Did she just pour tequila on her shoulder and you licked it, or did she put it in a shot glass and balance it there? She most likely was skinny, so had a dip in her collarbones where shots can be poured. Back in 2001 I was dared to go hide in a closet to scare this other girl that had walked away for a minute. I go into said closet. I wait. 2 dudes and 2 girls enter bedroom. They all start making out and fingering, etc. I am now stuck in the closet. They end up leaving 30 minutes later. I wait 5 minutes. Exit closet and go downstairs. Male friends laugh at me and say I was spying on them. Girls hate me. Fuck those guys. My friends and I used to play Truth or Dare at the hospital. For reference, we were in our late teens. Old enough so we couldn't do this stuff at home with our parents in the next room, but not old enough to hang out at bars. So we chose the hospital parking lot, because it was a big place where people left us alone. We'd play this game in our parked car. Yes, it's all very weird, but puts the story in perspective. One cold and miserable winter night, a guy in our group was dared to exit the vehicle naked and run a single lap around the car. He was pretty crazy, so this was no big deal. The guy, let's call him Herman, stripped down and jumped out of the car, ran a lap, and then tried to open the door again. But for some reason, this triggered the car alarm, with the rest of us sitting inside. Instead of climbing back in, Herman decided to run into a little area near the main building, crouching down near one of those cages that holds the gas meters and electrical equipment. It looked like the opening scene of The Terminator. While Herman hid between the cage and some bushes, a security guard came out of nowhere and walked toward the car. By this time, the alarm had stopped. He stared at our car from a distance, saw nobody near it, and somehow didn't notice us sitting inside, turned around and left. As soon as the guard vanished, Herman came sprinting back to the vehicle across the icy parking lot, and was spotted by someone else who began yelling. He jumped back in and we sped off. That was our last night hanging out at the hospital. Early high school. Got dared to kiss the girl next to me. She recoiled in embarrassment fear, so I lost the dare. Jokes on her. 12 years later we met in a bar and now we're in a relationship. Friend's living room, 9 PM, 40 minutes in, everybody drunk or half drunk. I started the fire by daring a girl to go topless and dance. 10 minutes later shit got real and can't exactly remember what was the exact dare or who invented it, but like 2 seconds after dare was starting my friend's mom opened the door just in time to see 2 topless dudes, 1 topless girl, 1 empty bottle of vodka, just opened bottle of wine, and 1 girl about to lick another girl's ass. We were all 16. Edit. This kinda blew up, haha. So kids, it's not like in porn. Sadly, friend's mom yelled us all out of the house and called our parents. I had a long talk with my mom and dad about how we all were young and stupid. I think one of the girls was grounded for a year though. Playing truth or dare Jenga. Pull the block saying kiss the person on your left. I place a sweet gentle kiss on the girl to my left's cheek. She blushes. Fast forward 11 years. I am single and she has half my shit. Damn. Burglary is a real issue these days. At least you know who did it. Hopefully the cops can find her. She might have half your shit, but she'll never be able to unsuck your dick. Just watched my crush vomit into a cup, drink his vomit and proceed to vomit it out again on a dare. Weirdly enough, I still like him. Got dared to run around the block naked. It wasn't nice but might have been close. I'm running. I took the half block option because well I'm chubby fuck and therefore less running. So I do the main street portion of the run. Few honks, all is well. The backstretch runs along a park on one side, church on the other. There's a guy running from the park and at first I think, oh, poor little white guy running from the big black naked guy, what a fucked up evening for him. Then I glanced over at the church and see fire in the windows and realize he's running from the fire he started and give chase. My friends waiting outside our apartment complex with a robe and a shot, see random stranger run by. Then me in full on naked chase mode yelling call the cops and the fire department. So I gained a bit on that guy. But like a block down I realized we just called the cops and the fire department. The fire department is an alley away from us and I'm naked black guy running through the neighborhood. I need some clothes. Turn back and make it to my friends and a robe just in time for the cops to roll up. Fire department showed, came over a few minutes later. Fire was in Christmas tree in the park. My drunk ass saw the reflection in the church windows. Cops had also got a call about streakers but didn't mention it till they left. Came for the nakedness, stayed for the heroism, upvoted for the laugh at the end. Poor guy got chased down by a big black naked drunk dude. I should mention the robe that was waiting was a woman's and too small. I was barely covered by this near sheer pink robe with fur. It was more for lounging than post shower, and definitely not for containing the sweat after a 3-block run. Playing truth or dare as a freshman in high school. We did weird double dares to make 2 people do shit. The group dares me to let the pretty senior girl gargle some Sprite and spit it in my face. Honestly I was kinda into it lol. Definitely better than the time I had to suck the hairy dude's nipple, but not as good as the time a girl motorboated my girlfriend. Read the top post though. That shit can end dangerously. At family and friends' Christmas party, everybody was pretty tipsy and they start playing truth or dare. My aunt dares my uncle to do a lap around the house naked. He does. She locks the doors and leaves him out there. Family and friends truth or dare sounds like a new kind of hell. Worse even than trying to fish a too small spoon from a deceptively large jar of mayonnaise. Playing truth or dare in middle school. The hottest girl in the class dared the girl I had a huge crush on to kiss one of the popular guys of the class. She said she was nervous and didn't want to do it, but the hot girl said it's a dare so it has to be done and kissed the guy to show her it's not that difficult. So my crush gave in and kissed him too. And then she dared that girl, the hot one, to kiss me. The hot girl said no and left the classroom. That was the last time I played truth or dare. Truth or dare resulted in a mild orgy in my apartment at Halloween 2-3 years ago. I went into my room to use the bathroom. Left after making out with some people and everyone had their clothes on. Came back out maybe 10 minutes or so later. Drunk, peeing is hard. and some people have vanished. Roommate had a threesome. 2 people banged openly on the floor. Other people just making out and dry humping all over the damn place. I went to bed. I'm picturing you like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. Hey guys. Whoa. Orgy hop. Alright, well, see ya later. A bunch of friends and I, including my brother and his then girlfriend, were playing Truth or Dare extremely drunk at about 4 AM. It's his girlfriend's turn now and she quickly picks Truth. No one can think of anything to ask her because we didn't really know her. So my friend says, just tell us something juicy, to which she responds. looks at my brother and says, I don't think Justin goes down on me enough. He never returns the favor. Justin is my brother. My brother was so caught off guard and embarrassed with what she said, but it was fucking hilarious. We all shamed him after she said that, but the next time we all hung out again about a month later, we asked her if he had shaped up and she said that he'd been doing a much better job. She really took advantage of that damn situation. In 7th grade I was playing my then girlfriend's house for her birthday. My GF and I were then dared. Can't you remember if it landed on me or her to take a condom and go into the closet to celebrate her birthday? It was uncomfortable and really weird. Lasted about 5 minutes. Gone wrong because it's not how I really wanted to lose my virginity. At a party with a bunch of people waiting for me to come back out. And I learned that not all sex is good. Sometimes it's pretty bad. Especially when you have no idea what you're doing. One of my old college roommates, let's call him A, had a huge crush on a girl who lived down the hall from us in college. One night she asks him if he would like to join their game of Truth or Dare, and tells him to invite his friend M because her roommate has a crush on M. So he agrees, and says he just needs to change and then he'll grab M and head over. Once she leaves he starts freaking out. He's head over heels at the opportunity to maybe kiss her. He runs around our dorm room telling all of us how excited he is. Now A has always been a super weird guy. Just socially awkward to the max, so all of us are excited for him. Trying to get him to play it cool. He was shaking like a chihuahua, he was so excited. Anyway, he changes. Literally gives himself the finger guns and a pep talk in the mirror, and heads out to meet his destiny. The next morning we all discover A hasn't come back from her dorm yet, so naturally we're all sitting around feeling proud of him. About an hour later he strolls in grinning from ear to ear, and wearing her clothes. He walks up to us and goes, guys, I kissed her, and we all high five and congratulate him. So we ask for the details and he says it was a little fuzzy because they all got really drunk. Now this in itself was amazing because A does not drink. Like at all. So we all give him a second round of a tap voice for finally getting drunk. So he says the following sentence super casually like it's not a big deal. Yeah, so she dared me to make out with M for like 5 minutes and then she'd kiss me. So obviously M and I made out and then she gave me a peck on the cheek. What? So obviously we're all hysterically laughing at this point and just yelling about his totally not equivalent exchange, and he gets defensive and says it doesn't matter because he really likes her and is going to ask her out. So he goes to his bedroom to take a nap. As we all laugh about his night in the common room, we hear a knock at the door. It was the girl from down the hall. She proceeds to tell us the real story of the night, which was that she really did dare him to make out with M for 5 minutes in exchange for a kiss. And they really did make out. She did kiss him on the cheek, and he promptly got so excited he stood up from the floor they were all sitting on, and tried to take a victory lap. Unfortunately he was much more drunk than he thought, and standing up so fast made him dizzy and nauseous. So he tried to run out of her dorm and back to our dorm so she wouldn't see him throw up. Unfortunately our dorm room door was locked and he couldn't remember the code to get in. So he stood in the hallway, absolutely hammered, and turned his shirt into a little bucket by holding up the end, and puked into it. Then he carried his puke shirt back into her apartment, and promptly dropped his shirt holding his curdled load onto her floor. She made him change, and sent him back the next day in her clothes, while she spent the whole night cleaning his mess. He was so drunk he doesn't remember, while she wants absolutely nothing to do with him. We all felt bad, but definitely laughed so hard we cried. His curdled load. I hope I never see those 3 words in a row ever again. We were playing Truth or Dare in college at a friend's apartment at a party. In the Truth or Dare room it was made clear that no one is in a relationship in here. The one couple was cool with it because they were swinger Y like that. I was dared to kiss the guy's girlfriend. It was a really good kiss. The best first kiss I ever had with a person. Usually, the first kiss is alright and you work on it with the other person to make it better. But our lips and techniques matched up perfectly the first time and the kiss went on way longer than it should have for a game. Anyways, she dumped him like a week later because she said that kiss made her realize she wanted to be with other people. Back in college, bunch of us got together and played. Much liquor was involved. One guy dared the other fart in the face of another. Well, it is not easy to fart on command. So the guy's there trying to fart. Well, after much pushing and stomach squeezing, he said okay, going to fart, bent over, pointed his ass as the other guy's face, and sharted all over his face and head. Like not a log, but a freaking sprinkler of shit. The fatal mistake here is bare acid. Never agree to a bare acid fart in the face. Like not a log, but a freaking sprinkler of shit. Oh holy hell, this would have been even funnier if a solid log had just rammed him in the face. When I was in first grade I had a birthday party and we all played Truth or Dare. I was dared to pull down my pants and show my butt while doing a Yosemite Sam impression. My mom saw me doing it and I was grounded. Edit. Also I'm a girl. I don't know why, but I feel like that makes it funnier. It was the summer after I completed the 9th grade. I was a part of a local theater company who had just put on a production of Songs for a New World. It was a cast party at this girl's house and she had a pool and a hot tub and some of you started a game of Truth or Dare in the hot tub. I was dating this girl at the time and had been for several months. It was a friend of ours' turn and she asked my girlfriend Truth or Dare. She said Dare. Our friend then dared her to break up with me, and she did, and we stayed broken up. Despite both of us agreeing it was a good and happy relationship, got to give her credit for commitment. I double dared a lovely single mom to run the length of a high-rise condo's corridor in her bra and panties. She did it. So then I had to. In her bra and panties. These are all about sex. I have some weird ass stories. Maybe the people I used to hang out with date were just weird. When I was in high school I was with my then girlfriend. She was 14, I was 15 or 16. And a few of her friends and one of my friends. My girlfriend's friend dated another friend to take a shit in the neighbor's potted plants surrounding their front doors. They were pretty shameless so she actually did it. Fast forward a week and it turns out the house had a camera on their front door and the friend was forced to go to the house with her parents and apologize. There was one time my friends and I were in friend's basement drinking and playing Truth or Dare. One girl was dared to lick marinara sauce off of the hairy kid's chest. As she is licking it off, her dad comes downstairs. He looks down at his daughter, looks at the couch, and noticed that the interracial couple were slightly cuddling. He tells them to stop doing that on their couch and completely ignores his daughter diving deep for some marinara, at the beach. Dared to ask out a girl. I was super nervous and I was looking through pickup line with my friend, finally decide on one and ready to go through with it. Me. Excuse me. Do you have a map? Because I got lost in your eyes her. But I am wearing sunglasses. Me. Blank dumb shit. My friends were dying when they found out. In my first year at university I ended up playing Truth or Dare sat in a stranger's kitchen late one night. Things got a bit out of hand and some naked laps around campus were run, but everything was still in good fun. When we got back to the kitchen not everybody bothered to get full dressed again. In particular, one person ended up leaving without putting their shorts back on. We thought this was hilarious, and we kept joking about the shorts as the night went on. At about 12 o'clock, someone was dared to try and barter the shorts for something. This was after their owner had left. In our drunken state we thought this was the funniest thing ever and completely missed how someone could be annoyed by having their shorts given away. We ended up trading them for a large portion of chips at a kebab van. When we woke up the shorts owner to offer them a chip he was not pleased, and we ended up having to steal the shorts back out of the kebab van to appease him. All in all not the worst thing to ever happen. Although I don't recommend becoming a thief just because it's funny to trade shorts away for chips when you're drunk. Who accepts that trade? It's like yeah, fuck it. I could use another pair. I hugged someone because I was dared to. It was then banned at my school. One of the few times I was invited to a girl's birthday party, with only 2 other guys and maybe 7 girls. The girls all decided to play Truth or Dare spin the bottle mashup. It also began to dawn on me that the birthday girl had a crush on me and this was all a setup. I had no idea how to kiss and I pulled one of the guys that I was friends with aside and asked him to help me get out of this. He told me he'd help me out but I'd owe him big time. We went back in and sat down. After several truths and small dares from the other girls the birthday girl spun the bottle and it landed on me. She dared me to kiss her for 5 seconds. As we began to lean in a horrid smell hit all our nostrils. My friend set off a stink bomb and the trash cannon forced us all to leave the room. We all laughed it off and I decided it was late enough to leave. The girl had to throw out the trash can but I got out of having my first kiss with a cute girl I had a crush on. TLDR. My friend set off a stink bomb because I didn't want to kiss a girl. Edit. My friend is a fine genius. Edit 2. Thank you stranger for the gold. It's the first time I've gotten it. I got out of having my first kiss with a cute girl I had a crush on. Hugh. Close one. TLDR. My friend set off a stink bomb because I didn't want to kiss a girl. I'm a fine genius. You mean your friend is a fucking genius? I just want to applaud your friend for readily having stink bombs. My uncle seems to have them at the ready too. That is the most awesome thing I have heard. Pretty shitty situation if you don't know how to kiss yet. Kissing is easier. Just pucker your lips as far out as you can and slam your face into theirs. Playing Truth or Dare with a few friends after a party at my place at like 4 in the morning. We've all been friends for over 10 years, so the game is mostly really funny. At one point my best friend asks me if I'm attracted to her sexually. She's a lesbian. I'm straight and married. I reply with I love and think you're beautiful but I'm not into you sexually. She was crushed and upset and didn't talk to me for a good week once the party was over. 2 girls ending up in the shower, covered only by as cheese bikinis. Just looking at that quantity of X cheese was enough to ruin an otherwise glorious moment. It still makes me mildly nauseous to think about. This is one of the only times I ever played Truth or Dare. 8th grade. After the last day of school, I suddenly get invited to a part on the beach celebrating our graduation with some popular kids. I wasn't the most popular kid, but I got invited by this other guy named Doug simply by virtue of also being named Doug Score. I don't really know anyone there, but I truck on. I'm at a party with cool kids. There's attractive girls in swimsuits, and everyone greets everyone else by hugging. It's awesome. Day drags on until the sun starts to set. Everyone sort of chills out hanging out on some towels and someone suggests truth or dare. The whole of the evening is just these other kids one-upping each other with dares of things to do with me. Because I was the odd one out of this group. The kind of weird chubby unpopular kid. I was gross as far as they were concerned. In that moment, I didn't care that the girls would comment on how gross the dares were, because they inevitably were goaded into doing it anyway. Kiss him. Sit on his lap. Let him touch you. And then after that summer I ended up going to high school in another county, and I never saw any of them again. It was a night I'll never forget. Truth or dare with a class. I got to pick and well, I chose dare. Close friend of mine tells me to send an email with a book suggestion for our teacher. I just shrugged and said yeah, but then he told me what book. Nikon Teratologen is a very controversial Swedish author whose most famous work includes scenes of a boy having sex with his uncle etc etc. And of course I had to suggest that book. Next week, I was making my way towards my locker when the teacher spots me in the hallway. He gives me a strange look and says, "My office, now, comma." At a fun party, a girl asks everyone to play truth or dare. About the third round she picks truth. Q. What is the weirdest sexual situation you were ever involved in? A. Probably with my dad. Man, did that ever kill the fun? 16 years old. Truth or dare with friends upstairs. Parents drunk downstairs. Enter my 6 years old sister. She threatens to tell if she isn't included in the game. She is dared to do a swirly, long beautiful blonde hair. She resists, but gets it over with. Flush. She comes up giggling. Little brat loved it. She kept doing it to herself until we all had to go tell on her and therefore ourselves. Had the classic friend dares a girl to make out with me in a closet. The girl and I sat in the closet and she told me there was no way that was happening. She was nice enough to tell her friend I was a good kisser, but that just led to me disappointing her friend as she was my first kiss. Truth or dare by job colleagues in a happy hour. Receptionist goes in and tell me I dare you to go and take Anna and leave with her in your car. Anna was my boss back then. She was around her 35s and single, but she was kind of a sister to me. I asked back, if I go, you won't have a design driver. Sure about that, they said yeah. Turns out they had to walk because since they were drunk they completely forgot I was the one with the car who took them there in the first place. Went to my boss and said, hey, place is kind of crowded, remember you told me you would like to go to that jazz lounge? She said yes. Want to go there? I replied yep, see Monday. Good thing that gal didn't say nothing like hit on her or anything, right? I mean, this kind of relationship your boss never ends right, especially when you think of her as your sister. Turns out just when she entered the car she said, we're going to your home, right? Edit for everybody who's been hanging. I said, hey, I thought we were going to listen to some jazz. She said yeah, we are going to listen to some jazz. At your place. Ended up in a Roll Tide situation nonetheless. She probably told that other girl to dare you to take her home. Drunk girl mostly messed up the message, but it still worked. A gay friend of mine dared me to run around the house naked, in the middle of a New England winter. I was drunk so I accepted the dare, under the condition that I get to wear my shoes, which he eventually accepted. So I go outside and strip down and do a full lap of the house. The run was harder than it should have been, because it had snowed the week prior, then had some warm days and cold nights, which created a crust of ice on top of the snow, which would break with each step and I'd have to pull my foot out. When I got back to the door and started putting my clothes back on, most of my friends were shocked, because the ice had cut my shins and calves to hell, and I was bleeding from about a dozen cuts from the ice. The friend who dared me was just peeved that throughout, I had positioned myself so he could only see my butt. My friend was dared to streak through an old strip club that was under renovation. Quite a bit of time passed and he hadn't come out the other side, so we went in to check what happened. When he went in, he had to go down a long corridor into the main part of the club, through that to another corridor, down that out and out through a door on the other side. It didn't work out like that though. As he was going down the first corridor, one of the workers that were renovating the place started walking towards it, so to avoid him, my friend ran up some stairs and tried to run across the upstairs part of the club to some other stairs that would bring him out in the second corridor. He was looking to behind himself instead of paying attention to where he was running and ended up falling through an opening in the floor, landing in the middle of a donut-shaped podium on the ground floor. We walked in and found the workers gathered around laughing and him only just getting to his feet. I was young, at my cousin's house. 3 boys. We had 2 other cousins over as well, a boy and a girl. So the 6 of us thought it'd be fun to play truth or dare. The first dare dealt to me was to release my cousin's grandma's bird from its cage. They reassured me they do it all the time and it's no big deal. I do it. The bird flies out, hits the ceiling fan, and dies. Friend dared another friend to let her fart in his mouth. Bear said, we were all very drunk. She put her butt right on his mouth and farted. The fart was surprisingly loud, and it was forceful enough his cheeks puffed out, and he started gagging and spat up a little. We fucking died LMAO. We used an app that would come up with the dares. I was to send a nude pic to a random number. No biggie, I didn't put my face on it, however I used someone else's phone. I deleted the message but I was too inebriated to remember it saves to their phone. Months later she tells me how she was scrolling through and found my picture. She was my best friend's girlfriend. We laughed it off but I was dying inside. We were playing a card game which involved a never have I ever minigame, which is basically a modified truth portion of traditional truth or dare. Well, one girl in the group says, never have I ever slept with anyone besides Tyler, her current boyfriend, not present at the time. Well, that was a lie, and in my house, you do not disparage the sanctity of never have I ever. The rules are no judgments and no lies, and she broke the latter. So I chimed in, what about Andy, the guy she lost her virginity to during a drunken night out, who no one else at the party knew about? She got so mad she just stormed out, and everyone else gave me variations of, you did what had to be done. Look, I feel for her for a shitty encounter she'd rather forget, but you don't try to pull some bullshit like that in my house. Edit. Another time I stirred up shit during Never Have I Ever was calling out the open secret of 2 of the patrons hooking up. One guy, Jordan, would commonly hook up with a girl, Robin. Everyone knew but kept it hushed cause it was kind of mutual, you're the best I can get kind of deal between them. Well, our friend group would joke about when Jordan would disappear as him responding to the Robin signal. Well, during Never Have I Ever, I played Never Have I Ever responded to the Robin signal. People spit their drinks out. It was fantastic. Her fault for bringing up what is clearly a lie when she didn't have to. Right before high school, the summer before, I was hanging out with my friends and we decided to play truth and dare. My friend A dared the only girl in the group to give me a blowjob. She agreed, and I got my first blowjob. She decided to stop playing with him, but she and I played truth and dare a lot more during that summer. In college we were playing and this one guy chose truth and I can't remember what the original question was, but next thing you know he was talking about his mom masturbating him when he was a kid like it was something everyone's parent did. When he realized we were all horrified and like, no, that's absolutely not normal, he was so embarrassed and it was just so awkward. My friend lived in an apartment building. On the 16th floor, someone dared him to piss off the balcony. Guess what? He did. Ended up hitting a dog. Truth or dare in high school, we dare this girl to ding dong ditch the neighbors in nothing but her undies. No bra. She runs out the door and our drunk asses forget that she left for a while. Sorry Linda. Turns out she successfully ding dong ditched the neighbors, but ran nearly naked back into the wrong house. Didn't realize her mistake until she heard children upstairs. Back in college, my roommate had this brilliant plan to throw a party with 3 girls. One of them he fucked on the premise that they would be an item, which he bailed. The other being a girl he was trying to fuck and the last being a friend that he had chemistry with and he could close that deal almost at any time. So, as bad as this idea was, imagine this with alcohol flowing freely and the first girl getting super pissed. Realizing that his mistake, he proposed a game of truth or dare and decided he needed to try to make me take one of these grenades for him. I was in the middle of a complicated situation with a lady friend, of which had stayed the night before, and these girls weren't my type, not by a long shot. After the warm-ups had passed and the raunchy part started, he, while sitting right across from me, dared me to finish the game but naked. I figured why not, and got down to my birthday suit and sat back down. Now to clarify, I was a few inches taller than him, and he had 70-90 pounds on me. He was a chunky guy, but he had a lot of charisma and could use it. So, being the most athletic and trim person in the room, he hoped that one of them would pounce me and he could escape with one of them. Instead he got an unabashed me sitting open-legged and my mini-me on full display, which started to freak him out as he didn't think of before the dare. The party went on. I stayed naked and at the end of the night, girl 1 left and he hooked up with girl 2. The next few weeks he was awkward because apparently he had seen enough of me for a lifetime. TLDR. Roommate tried to make me a wingman. Ended up losing staring contest with my one-eyed monster. Not quite sure what he expected. If 2 of the 3 girls wanted to be with him romantically, the first one item girl, and the third one friend with chemistry, and the other was one that he wanted to fuck. All in all, not a well thought out plan. This wasn't my game. My friends and I, all adults with kids, would have raucous parties and send the kids off to other parts of whoever's house we were at. Well, apparently, the kids started a game of truth or dare. The kids never really bugged us in our areas. They really didn't want to see what we were up to. But this evening, some of them came charging up to me, laughing gleefully, that my eldest had been dared to streak. I stopped him before he went out and gave him a bit of advice. Son, wear your shoes and keep your undies balled up in your hand. He did his thing. Good for him. The problem was that some of my friends were sloshed and heard a commotion outside. They started going out there to check on the kids, over my protests. But let's be honest, I was laughing too hard to be properly understood. Next thing I know, he's scaled a tree to escape an unexpected audience. He's begging, "Please, Mrs. Smith, I'm okay. Please go back inside, as my confused friend was trying to help him out of the tree. It was all a goofy accident, but he got me back later. I lost a bet I shouldn't have made with him, about something not related at all, and had to dye my hair blue. The dye was cheap and ended up green. I don't remember the specifics, but a game of truth or dare led me to go down on a girl for the first time, because my stepbrother, who hadn't yet come out of the closet, didn't want to do it. Later that night that girl and I ended up having sex, my only second time ever, and in turn ended up cheating on her boyfriend with me. Her boyfriend was my supervisor at work. They ended up breaking up not long after. I got dared to steal a wreath from the front door of the flat next door. The next morning I went to return it, but forgot my key. Cue me standing outside their flat, being quite obviously there to return the wreath, hammering on my flat door and praying for someone to let me in. Edit. Wording. It. Hey, I dare you to fuck me. Haha. Oh well, I guess I have to now. Crazy rules. Haha. Come on bro, let's get this over with. Bro, you smell nice. Is that new cologne? Need to text me the name of it bro. I might wear it next time. This is crazy dude, haha MPH. Friend of mine was playing truth or dare with two other buddies, all around 12-13 at the time. Friend dares two other buddies to go into buddy's closet and make game-owning noises for the next 5 minutes. Buddies go into closet and proceed to moan and groan, etc. and NBSP. Friend starts playing Sega Genesis while other buddies are having their closet moan fest. Other buddy's extremely hot older sister comes walking by, hears moaning and asks friend WTF they are doing. Friend shrugs shoulders and claims to have no idea. Hot sister shakes her head in disgust and continues walking by. It was our spring fling field day in middle school. A big group of us were sitting in the bleachers because we were too cool to play field games, and a couple people decided to play truth or dare. I was having a conversation with someone when I feel a tap on my shoulder. I turn and, mid-word, get cut off by the wettest, sloppiest kiss, followed by the world's longest spit string. The guy who had been dared to kiss me gets all wide-eyed and goes to sit on the other side of the bleachers, too embarrassed to even look at me. Definitely not my best kiss. This isn't me but my friend from my other post. I'm typing it in first person to make it easier to read and type. Went to a party hosted by my crush. We decided to play truth or dare. The first 2 times I picked dare and eat 2 ghost peppers. I started drinking a gallon of milk thinking it would help me. The 3rd time I picked it's by my crush and I chose truth. She asked me if I had feelings for her. I ended up throwing up everywhere and blacking out the moment I tried to speak. Edit. Shortened the post so it was easier to read and more concise. Original story as a reply to this. Posted before. But here is my best worst truth or dare moment. TLDR. Got my virgin roommate into a threesome. A bloody, stanky, hairy situation ensued. 3/10 with rice. Be me, a freshman in college. It's the 2nd month of school, and midterms just finished up. So, vast amounts of alcohol, everywhere. Somehow, my roommate and I ended up in a room of 4 girls on the floor below us. All of us are tipsy. Someone brings up truth or dare. Everyone is now instantly naked. It should be said that none of us is more than the 7th of May 10. And that at that time both my roommate and I were virgins. After a good amount of dry humping, making out, and fondling dares, I finally seize the opportunity to be the greatest roommate ever. At this point, 3 of the girls have expressed interest in banging us, but we were both too green to actually take them up, and they too whatever to initiate. So I dared the two most attractive and most horny to have a threesome with Rumi. They discuss between themselves and agree. I am a hero. We four walk up to our room and make outs instantly start. I grab a handful of condoms from the Raz condom box, overhand throw them onto the morphing body pile in my room like confetti, grab a blanket, and head to lounge. I pass out. Next day, roommate seems, well, not like he just lost his V card in a legendary manner. I ask him what's up, and his answer haunts me. So apparently girl 1 puts in a low-key retainer before bed. She had put it in, and amidst drunkenness and horniness, forgot about it. Later that evening, she decided to go down on roommate. The retainer caught on his foreskin. Massive amounts of bleeding ensued, covering girl 1's face, while girl 2 was sitting on roomie's face, pinning him down and muffling what I assume to be screams. Also before that, girl 2 commented that roomie's dick was not as big as her last boyfriend's, which is not a nice thing to hear. Also, he said girl 2 smelled like old bread downstairs, which I assume to be not pleasant. So yeah, we agreed that in 10 years when he is shooting the shit and says he lost his V card in a 3-way, the details will be falsified. Also a different time my friend lubed up and fucked a garden gnome. And another different time we played Pictionary, but the markers were in our assholes. I hate Truth or Dare, and really didn't want to play, but my friends insisted. We were using questions from online. Question came: if Chavalin or other person playing had to die, which one would you rather have die? We urged the guy to skip the question, but he answered anyway, saying he'd rather me die because he liked other person playing better. Was one of the last straws in a dying friendship that was very painful for me. We used to be best friends. He died last year, at 25, after being hit by a car on his way home from the grocery store. I still hate Truth or Dare. A few weeks ago my friend dared me to tell him what made me fight with him 3 years ago. Yeah, we fought again. LMAO. This happened a couple months ago when I had a couple friends over my place. Generally, whenever we all get together, we end up playing Truth or Dare one way or another. This was a bit later in the night, so everyone but me was absolutely wasted. I don't drink due to some family issues, so it comes to my friend, Nick, to pick Truth or Dare. Now, Nick always picks Dare and has yet to back out of one. He's done some crazy shit, from stripping down naked and jumping into 3 feet of snow, to literally setting himself on fire. Nick picks Dare, as is usual. For some reason, one of my other buddies, Ollie, decided it would be a good idea to dare Nick to suck his own dick. At this point, a lot of people would back out, since it is really hard to do that, not to mention a little weird, unbeknownst to all of us. However, Nick had apparently done a lot of gymnastics when he was younger, and was still extremely flexible, as well as absolutely shit-faced. So, because of this, Nick proceeded to take off his pants. Took him a good 5 minutes because of how drunk he was, and began to literally suck himself off in front of us. At this point, I was kind of in shock, and decided it would be a good idea to just scream at the top of my lungs. This scared the fuck out of everyone. Everyone except for Nick, since Nick has never been one to back down from a dare, and this dare was rather ambiguous. He took it to mean he had to suck himself off until he came. So I'm sitting there, still screaming a good bit, while everyone else looks at me like I'm crazy, while Nick proceeds to ejaculate in his own mouth. Weirdest night I've had in a while. Long story, but worth it. When I was 16, I was staying at a close friend's house. It was me, my friend, 16, his brother, 15, and the brother's friend, 15. I had brought some hard alcohol that I stole from my dad. My friend's house had a rec house, similar to a guest house, and we were all staying there for the night. Now my friend lived on the outskirts of town, so we were bored late at night. Drunken dares started happening, so we were ringing doorbells and running, playing with night vision, and throwing old computer parts over the fence into the neighbor's yard. Somebody decided to date me to streak down the main highway near the house. Well, I was a ballsy kid, so I dropped down to my birthday sit by the pine trees near the highway and made my way down the hill. Cars were driving by honking, teenagers yelling, a lot of fun. After about 15 minutes I was done and ready to go back, but my friends, being good friend, begged for one more car, so I decided to make it good. Saw a car coming. I bent over, ass pointed towards the car, one hand spreading and the other smacking my ass. As the car passed I saw red and blue start flashing and the car drift around towards me. I looked like a deer in headlights. Once everything clicked, I took off towards my friends hiding in the pine trees. My friends, being the good friends they are, too, off to the rec house with my cloths. So I began running through the trees, balls bouncing off the needle-like pine trees until I get to the house. Once there we start freaking out because we see a cop driving on the road in front of the house. My friend has the bright idea of running to the woods so they don't find us at the rec house. So we do it. On the other side of the woods is just a large flat area of grass. We get to the edge and behind us we see flashlights in the woods and dogs barking. We start timing to the other side of the flats where there are other woods. Through those a road that takes us back to the house. Halfway across we see a cop spotlighting the field. We all dropped our backs and close our eyes as the lights go over us. We get through the next woods and to the road. We begin walking next to the road to get back home. My friend keeps running to get back home. The last three of us just want to walk. About 5 minutes in, lights come around the corner. My friend's brother and I jump in the ditch to hide. His friend says F it and stops. The cop pulls over and yells at him and cuffs him. We then hear dogs coming from where we came out of the woods. We stand up and give up. They yell and cuff us, slam us on the hood. They start questioning us where the drugs are, where the gas was. They are searching us and calling for a transport. At this time we see my friend's mom's car coming down the road really fast. She stops, jumps out of the car, and starts yelling, "Get those ducking things off the boys. Who the hell do you think you are, searching my house, my land, and my boys?" After a lot more yelling we get uncuffed, taken back to the house. As we walk in I see my friend's dad. He's drinking a scotch and says should have ran faster and laughs. Turns out there is a co-op station next to their land. The cop thought I was a drugged up meth dealer and I stole ammonium oxide, which is used to make meth. When they were searching my friend's house they found the night vision. This is why they had 3 dogs, 4 city cops, 2 deputies, and a helicopter on the way to search for us. My friend told his mom we were playing laser tag in the woods when we saw flashlights and heard people coming towards us. He told her we freaked out and ran to the other woods to get away because we didn't know who they were. She bought it. I still got grounded because my parents didn't buy the story. Last year, 16 years later, we told our parents the truth. They all laughed. My dad said that's why I grounded you. Was playing truth or dare with me, 14. My brother, 13. The neighbor girl, 14. And her friend, 14. I was just figuring out I had a foot fetish and convinced my brother to dare me to lick both their feet. I didn't enjoyed it so much I was struggling to hide my excitement in my sweet pants. After that they never wanted to play again. BC they were scared they would be dared to lick boy feet. I have an anime convention story. A few years ago my friends and I went to an anime convention and stayed at a hotel room. On the second night, we all decided to get super drunk and play truth or dare. In our group there was only one girl. To make it easier we'll call her Jay. And one of our huge neckbeard friends had a crush on her. Throughout the night we did some crazy shit like stripping down or eating pubes. We decided to troll Neckbeardo by daring her to just stay in her bra and panties. Neckbeardo started to sweat profusely and requested a blindfold so that he could keep his eyes away from her virtue. And it just keeps going downhill. When it's his turn, he picks truth and we asked him what his greatest sexual fantasy is. He describes in detail how he would gently pleasure said only girl in the room before dominating her, and then he shouted, "And I will bite her clit as she comes." All of us are crying tears of laughter at this shit and Jay says, Please promise me you will never bite any girl's clit." At this point the blindfold was off and the next dare was for Jay to let Neckbeardo just lie down on her lap. Neckbeardo's eyes lit up like a fucking lighthouse. He started stretching, grabbed a couple of comforters to prepare. Jay placed a pillow arguing that he was greasy. As Neckbeardo lies down on her thighs, he looks at the person who gave him the dare and says, "Thanks for the early birthday present," as he moaned in ecstasy. To this day we're surprisingly all still good friends, except for Neckbeardo. The cringe. But then again, I could have expected this by reading the first sentence. I dared a girl to let me smack her ass when I was 16. I pulled her pants down on the last one. And her boyfriend was not happy about that. Man, that was an awkward conversation to have. My friends and I got all drunk at a club one night. We leave and go to Waffle House. Well, I dared Dustin to hit on the waitress. She's about 60, missing teeth, hair thinning. So he does and then dares me to chuck the maple syrup on the table. So I do it and immediately go throw up. When I come out I dare Dustin to run headfirst into the tile wall opposite of us. And that's how we ended up at the hospital. Drunk. At 5 AM. Copied and pasted my comment from a different similar thread before because I love the story too much. One of my friends, female, got dared to let one of our other friends, male, Snapchat anything he wanted to anyone he wanted from her phone. She made a rule about no family, and everyone agreed that that was fine. Well, he broke the rule because although she calls this guy her brother, he's actually just a family friend that she's close to, not a biological family member at all. My friend, male, Snapchatted a picture of his balls to this other dude from her friend. We all have not played truth or dare since. Bunch of teenagers with Southern Comfort, LSD, and fireworks. We were hanging out at a housing development construction site and started playing. It was all silly shit, until I took the dare to shoot the Roman candle through the window of that house. The house was being built, and had no glass in the window. I figured it would go through the window and fizzle out. I was wrong. So very wrong. We looked into the rearview mirror at the pretty sparkling trails of someone's unfinished house burning in the cold January air as we tore out of the development in my Monte Carlo. And then we decided we had actually been at our friend's house playing Nintendo if anyone asked. Friend dared another friend to get Challenger in League. Other friend dropped out of school, isolated himself from his entire family for about a year and a half, and ended Silver 3. Got dared to put my buddy's cock in my mouth. Ended up sucking him off and then swallowing. No one could top that. Haha. That was 16 years ago, and I've never done anything like that again. Straight guy with 3 kids. We were in the middle of a steamy truth or dare and I had to kiss my crush. We were all around 10-11. I went in a bit hard and my nose piercing drove through the middle of my nose. I ran to the bathroom with an uncontrollable nosebleed. This went on for about 25 minutes and everyone was knocking on the bathroom door asking WTF was going on. It finally stopped and I flushed the toilet. It overflowed from the bloody tissue and went all over the floor. His mom came home and plunged it and cleaned it for me. I went home. One time I was at a party I wasn't invited to, because I was just passing through. But I saw this girl poorly found the pool and didn't even notice me walking by. We've been married for 95 years with 392 great-great-great-grandchildren. I like how there's no punchline action moral whatsoever in your story.